everybody. Does anyone else find it weird that we have 4 Russian warships crossing through an area that we had U.S. Navy experimental explosions almost 2 years ago to the day during hurricane season? This is a very odd situation. I'm going to try to explain it right now. Oh, and not to mention, take a look at all the military in the United States right now. This is a high number to have at any given time, specifically the Southeast. I know a lot of training goes on down here, but this is way more than what we're used to seeing. The entire East Coast is lit up right now, and it seems like it's ready to go. Welcome back. It is June 11th, 2024, and we have a situation taking place that involves the Russians, the U.S. military, as well as the Canadian military going on near the Keys of Florida. Now, I have something that ties into this situation that happened almost 2 years ago, but very quick, I want to take a look at this and explain what's going on. This is coming out of Washington. A group of Russian warships passed within hailing distance of Florida's eastern coastline Tuesday, with the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard following close behind, according to open source maritime and air tracking information. The Coast Guard Cutter Stone, Navy-guided missile destroyers USS Tungsten and USS Donald Cook, and the Royal Canadian Navy frigate HMCS Vele de Quebec sailed after 4 Russian vessels reportedly headed to Cuba. Okay, and you can see the ships here. I'm not sure which ones here are exactly the Russian ships, but there was apparently 4 of them, and they came in this direction, which means if we jump over to Google Earth, they clearly came from Western Russia, and they sailed down through the Atlantic, and they came in this direction here, and this is where things are going to get very interesting. I'm going to line us up here, and the path of these ships came down in this direction, and then inside the Bahamas and down the eastern coast of Florida. Now, that alone is scary. I don't know what Russia's doing here. Apparently, they're doing some drills with Havana, Cuba. This is being related to the Cuban Missile Crisis, and apparently one of the most intense standoffs we're having since that time period. It's being said that these ships are in a standoff type situation. Anyway, take a look at this. 2 years ago, almost, we had 2 experimental explosions. I know I have 3 labeled here. One of them is wrong. It's this one and this one. These were done by the U.S. Navy, and you can see that right here. Reported earthquake off Florida coast actually was an experimental explosion by the U.S. Navy. This happened twice. Take a look at this. A reported 3.7 magnitude earthquake was actually an experimental explosion, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The explosion was reported just over 100 miles from Daytona Beach off the Florida coast at 4 p.m. Saturday, and these were apparently to see how ships would survive these types of blasts. In this trial, the Navy set off a 10,000-pound charge just 100 yards from a ship it survived. So apparently that was the excuse. And of course, as you can see here, I made a video on it 2 years ago, and this was during hurricane season. So take a look at this. Tropical Storm Claudette, this was during the hurricane season of 2 years ago, which is where we are right now. So I want you to think about this for a second. 2 years ago, and then a few months later, 2 experimental explosions were detonated off the east coast of Florida, causing 3.7 and a 3.9 earthquake. Those are huge, especially when being caused by our own military. And now 2 years later, almost to the exact day, we have Russian ships passing through that exact area. They had to pass that exact blast area to get down to this part of eastern Florida and the Keys. So what I'm trying to say here is, did we know, or did we have some sort of idea that this might take place back then, and it's finally happening now? We were having major issues with Russia 2 years ago, and now we have the whole world talking about these Russian ships that are so close to our home. And this goes without saying, but look at the amount of military aircraft we have in the United States today. I made a video on this and a post on X that went viral because the day of Trump's court verdict had tons of military ready on the eastern coast. This is an entire U.S. thing going on right now. Way more military than we're used to seeing, specifically in the southeast. That is very much expected right now, being that there are Russian warships down in Havana. So this presence alone tells you that something is absolutely going on in the U.S., or something is being prepared for. All right, my friends, I appreciate you all. What do you think is going on here? Why did we have these experimental explosions basically within the route that these Russian ships had to take to get to Cuba? It may be nothing, it may be something. These could have been war games we were playing, and not just testing ships, but getting ready for some sort of situation that involves another country and their ships getting too close to us using international waters. All right, my friends, I appreciate you all. Please share this video, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all, and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.